evening and welcome to another edition of Tolland County Economy. I'm Drew Crandall, your host. We're here live at Meneely's in South Windsor for the 2016 Tolland County Chamber of Commerce Business Showcase. Our first guest of the night is an exhibitor here. If you could introduce yourself to our viewers, please.
Sure, my name is Jason Boucher. I am a marriage and family therapist representing Cultivating Change Counseling Services in Tolland.
Excellent. Well, thanks for being here. Is this
Sure.
your first showcase?
It is, yes.
Super. And I think, if I remember correctly, you're a relatively new member of the Chamber.
We are, yep. We've only been with the Chamber just this year. And so we're very excited about the possibilities of networking, getting to know a lot of the folks in the area.
Good. How long have you been in practice in Tolland?
Sure, we've been in Tolland a total of almost 3 years.
Okay.
In our current location, we've been there for nearly 2 years.
Okay. Where are you located exactly?
We're in the Twin Ponds complex.
Sure.
Right there on 195.
Right near River of Life.
Yeah, right there in that same complex, and we're actually in the process of expanding our practice right now and moving into a larger suite in that same complex.
Okay. What kind of counseling do you typically do?
Sure, we do a variety of things. We provide marriage and family therapy. We work with addictions. We work with children. And we have someone who specializes in working with folks with depression and anxiety issues as well. We treat people both in individual and, like I said, couples and family sessions, and we also offer groups.
Wow. Now, what's your background? Where did you grow up?
Sure, I'm from Maine originally.
How far up in Maine?
Near Bangor.
Okay, sure.
So about 5 hours from here.
Uh-huh.
And then left Maine to go to school and got my education down in Arkansas before coming back.
That's quite a switch.
It is quite a switch, yeah. But I really enjoyed it down there. I got both my undergraduate and graduate degree there, and then came back to New England to be closer to family.
Wow, that's great. What did you do before you started this practice 3 years ago?
I've worked for agency settings, in agency settings for the majority of that time, working at different area agencies here in Connecticut and also back in Arkansas.
Wow. Well, I can imagine in our contemporary culture, there are a lot of people with a lot of issues that they have to unpack.
Absolutely.
And a lot of families that need your kind of help. So
yeah.
We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
And thanks for being part of the Chamber, and have a great evening.
Well, thanks for having us.
You bet.
All right.
Joining me now is a longtime business owner in the Vernon area. She's been a friend of mine for about 27 years now. Could you introduce yourself to our viewers?
Hi, I'm Kim Milikowski with Express Verizon Retailer.
And what is Express Verizon Retailer?
Well, we're a retailer for Verizon, in business for the 27 years and based in the Vernon area.
And what do you do? If I were to walk into your store, what might I expect to find in there?
Anything wireless. Most people would come in for a phone.
Okay.
We also have wireless devices, connection devices, and also tablets.
And how many different stores do you have in Tolland County?
Yeah, right now we operate 4 stores. And we also operate a business-to-business division that launched last year, and they're here at the show tonight.
Okay. And I think you've been active in the Chamber almost since you started your business. A long time.
Yes, and you as well.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, the years are flying by. And you have an interesting side business in Stafford Springs. Could you tell us about that?
I'd love to tell you about that. We're opening a garden center. I'm not even sure if you knew of that.
No, I didn't.
But the base business
Wow.
is, my husband Carl and I raise Mediterranean miniature donkeys.
Right.
And we're also going to be receiving 12 rescue donkeys from the Bureau of Land Management and Peaceful Valley Donkey Rescue. And we're also opening a garden center. So there's a lot going on at Foster Hill Farm.
Wow. Where's your farm relative to Route 190 or 32 or 19, some of the major roads in Stafford?
It's only a few thousand feet off of 190. It's right near Heritage Park. The address is 21 Stafford Street.
Okay.
We'll be open every day in May and June from 9 to 6.
Okay, and what will you have there?
We'll have annuals, hanging baskets, vegetable plants, perennials, herbs, and donkeys.
Of course. Can people bring a donkey home?
Yes, there's an application process, but yes, you can. You know, bring your trailer and we'll approve you, and you can have a donkey to go with your basil plant.
Out of curiosity, they're miniature donkeys, right?
Well, those that we breed are the Mediterranean miniature donkeys with a cross on their back.
Okay.
But we are also adopting out standard as well as
Okay.
mini donkeys.
Okay. So these would be donkeys you'd see out west on a dude ranch or something? Or
Yes, they're at least they're about 34 to 38 inches tall at their shoulder, the standard donkeys, and the minis are 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you, Kim, for your zeal for business, for your passion for Tolland County, for all that you do. You're a dynamo.
And you too. You do
Thanks.
a lot for the chamber, and we really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Part of the fun of being here every year at the showcase is to run into people that I've known through the years in various ways. So we have another guest that I've known for years. Could you introduce yourself to our viewers?
Sure, I'd be happy to. It's good to see you again, Drew. My name is Gary Cara. I was on the show a few years ago. I own and publish the North Central News newspaper. I'm also here. I do marketing and business and industry training for Nantucket Community College. So.
Great. I forget your story. It's been a while since you were on the show. Where did you grow up?
So in Summers,
Okay.
briefly in Springfield.
Okay.
Came to Summers, but I had a journalism degree and I'm a writer. I still write for the Valley Advocate as well.
Oh,
I
sure.
still, 20 years now, I have a little
Yeah.
music column going, and that has just this year blossomed into a little recurring radio spot on 99.3 FM every Wednesday.
Okay.
The morning DJ calls me. Her name's Leslie, and she says, "What's going on this weekend? What's in the what's in the column?" And we
Wow.
talk.
Now, are you a musician yourself?
I am, yes, a lifelong musician. That's
What do you
all
play?
I play guitar mostly, but I have a
Okay.
music minor, so you had to play some piano, and
Sure.
I've been known to bang on the drums once in a while.
Yep. I've been drumming since I was 7.
Right, I
They're going to have
remember
to
that.
bury me with my drumsticks.
Right, I remember that, right.
Yeah. So you grew up in Summers. Where did you go to school?
So it was my mother and actually all my aunts, very close family, the Caras. So my father has 3 brothers. They all live in Summers.
Okay.
And so they all worked at Barnes Aerospace. My father's now retired, and one of my uncles is, and 2 are there. And all the wives worked in Summers at the schools.
Okay.
So I was in all the public schools in Summers, and I never took a school bus because I always got a ride from my mother or my Aunt Marianne or my Aunt Paula. So
Sure.
And Aunt Paula's still there. There's still one Mrs. Cara left in the schools in Mabel B. Avery Middle School. Yeah.
Okay. And where did you go to major in journalism?
I went to Keene State College. I actually
Sure.
went to. I was going to become a music major. That was my
Okay.
passion. And then we had a real life sit down. Like that meant you're either going to be a music teacher, which I didn't want to get up early to do, or you just had this piece of paper you took to auditions. But if someone's better than you,
Right.
so I switched gears, and they said, "What else can you do?"
Sure.
And I could write.
Yeah. Cool. And what was the genesis of North Central News? You were in publishing before that, weren't you?
I was. I went to. So I got out of college and I wrote anywhere that would have me. So my clips were. I was commuting to New Haven Advocate.
Oh, sure.
I mean, there was things like Trade Winds, New Music Express, Catholic Transcript.
Sure.
And then I was doing imprint newspapers, which is based in Bristol, which is like a breeding ground for all these people now who you went through this. But it was a great experience.
Right.
You're in Bristol doing the papers for Windsor Locks, Bloomfield, Windsor.
Right.
And so you had to go. I went to all the beatings and police logs, but it was a great way to learn all the ins and outs. And then from there, I went to Bradley Airport. I was the editor of the Bradley Airport News for 10 years.
Right.
And as I was doing that in the day to day, I said, "Geez, I know how to make a newspaper and have it printed." And I knew all the moving parts. And we didn't really have a community newspaper in my backyard, so that's what started it.
Right. And what year did you start North Central News?
Okay, I started in 2002, which was the year my daughter was born, who's standing over there. This is the deal I had with Mom at the time is, she was a teacher, Emily's mom, and I was doing the airport thing, and we didn't want to do daycare, so someone was going to stay home. And I said, "Give me a shot. I'm going to launch my own paper, and if it works, you can stay home. If I fail miserably, I'll stay home, and you teach." And it worked. And we did not have to send Emily to daycare because we were not going to.
Wow. That's great. And over the years, you've expanded the circulation, haven't you?
It started, I still have the first edition, so it was June 2002. She was born in March.
Right.
And it was just a Summers thing, really, black and white, 8 pages. And what I did is I sort of piggybacked. Summers used to mail out Parks and Rec, its own mailing.
Right.
And I went to them. I had to go to Parks and Rec and speak, and I said, I wonder if I could take your budget and that, and I'll mail it to, and I'll do all the layout.
Right.
So I took what they usually did, and I added a few pages of my own news. And back then, I wrote every story, took every picture, so I did everything. And then it went out a few months, and then Ellington said, hey, how do we get involved?
Right.
And I had a choice to make because others that I know, including a former imprinter, Chris White, sort of made this template.
I know Chris, yeah.
Well, he made a template where you would do West Hartford Life, Avon Life. So do I want to do that? And I was like, I have it on one production schedule now, and I've always had another job. So I just said, sure, and I just added Ellington, added Stafford, added East Windsor, Enfield, Suffolk. So over the years, now we're up to 8 towns.
Right.
But I just stuck with the one product, and I'm really glad I did that because I can't imagine having 8 deadline. The production thing is so much.
Borderline insanity.
Right.
Yeah. Now I'm curious. Given if I were a fly on the wall watching you every month, you work full time. What's the ramp up like with each issue? Does it come to a conclusion on a certain day of the month, and then it drops back down, and then it gradually ramps back up? What does that look like? It's
interesting. So I have collected these people that I've worked with at the Airport News and print that I always worked well with.
Right.
And ironically, for whatever this is worth, 90% of them are women between the age of 40 and 60. A lot of the report, but I've known them forever. They've never failed to deliver. But a couple of them have said to me, in fact, someone who helps me with distribution said, I feel like it's Charlie's Angels because you remember he would just do over the speaker, like, we don't have meetings, we don't do.
You're a virtual team.
At the beginning of the month, I do an email and say, it's April, let's not forget there's school break week, ad reps, or this and that. Let's do a home improvement guide. Let's do a story on, I hear this is going on. Can we get pictures of the Scanning Springs play? And here's the deadline. And then everyone works independently. They're all freelancers.
Right.
And then at the end of the month, it all comes to me, and I sort it all out. And but it's all, we don't have meetings. We don't have hours. It's all.
But you are on deadline toward the end of the month.
Oh, yeah.
The pressure hits.
Definitely. And it all comes. So the best thing I did a few years ago is I brought in another longtime friend, Keith Griffin. He's also a syndicated auto columnist, and he's on the radio with the Car Talk thing or something.
Okay.
And he's a great layout person and that.
Okay.
So what I did is I brought him on. I used to, the last weekend of the month, I remember falling asleep on my keyboard and it was just horrendous, and I didn't have time with the kids.
Right.
And I brought him on, and at the time it was a cost. These people of this with these kind of skills don't do it for $10 an hour.
Right.
But it worked out. And what I realized is I would spend Thursday or Friday night all night long prepping and dropping in, and only I know at this point. There's so many things. I grew up there, and I know where to put everyone, and this person doesn't like to be next to that person. So there's a whole art to it. Like if you just came in and tried to do it, you wouldn't realize that
all the nuances.
Right. Yeah. So I get it all prepped and ready, and then the next day, I handed it off. The first time I did it, I was a nervous wreck because I like having my arms around. Like I had always done everything, so I know if anything happens, I can do it all because I've done it before. But the first time I did that and handed it off, I went to sleep for a few hours. Then I brought the girls to Six Flags. And while I was there, I was like, and I remembered I had a half-page hole or something, and I said, hey, you know what? You know who usually goes in this time of year? And I didn't hear from him. And I called on my cell, and he's like, oh, yeah, I forgot. Is it time? Is it too late to put my ad in? I said, no. And that price of that ad paid for that one day of, that I would never thought of. I mean, you make mistakes when you don't sleep. You forget to put ads in. I said, not only do we have we had another set of eyeballs making sure everything's there.
Sure.
I was able to do some global thinking because I wasn't, I slept.
Sure. 2 more questions before we wrap up. Number 1, does your daughter have an interest in journalism?
Oh, I don't know if the camera can swing that far, but I actually think she's more into the, she's an excellent writer, but she seems to like the marketing piece more. I got into that. And she loves to see campaigns, or she'll pick out things with Dad. Did you notice how they said this first and that to make you think? She gets all the nuance of it. So I think, I don't know, am I correct? Yeah.
And my second question is, in today's wired culture, people might be surprised to hear that you're publishing a hard copy newspaper. With thousands of pieces of paper that hit mailboxes every month. What's the difference between perception and reality when it comes to the value of print media in today's culture?
Well, I'll tell you, if I knew the answer for the future, I'd be, if I had a crystal ball for that. But I can tell you, like right now, even, I mean, I run into some people and they say, oh, I think print is dead. And print, I'm like, well, It depends. Like I thought subscriptions were dead a while ago, and I was approached years ago. They said, "Hey, you have a great product. If you go back to subscription, which some other papers have done, here's all the money you can make."
Right.
Well, I'm so glad I didn't do that because I don't think people have to pay for their news anymore.
Right.
And they don't. And and I also have reporters that go out. I think people are busy, so they can't get to the selectmen's meeting and the Board of Ed. So I still send that. And I said, no one's doing this, and I go over their friends' houses or anywhere, and there's the paper on the fridge. Their kid's on the honor roll. The boy made the Eagle Scouts. So, you don't really walk around the supermarket with your cell phone going, did you see my son's on this wall of this virtual, they put it on there. This is my son. He got his Eagle Scout. Isn't that great? Right. So, it still gets read more than ever.
That's what I see. Print media is not the dinosaur that people sometimes think it is.
Right. No, I'm glad I come out monthly. And I have advertisers that have been with me since issue 1 with the same ad.
Right.
And it's because it's free, it gets in the homes, and it's monthly. They say, if you came up every week and said, you want to run the ad again, they'd have to stop it. They pick a comfortable size, a couple $100. They hit 40,000, 50,000 mailboxes. They said I couldn't do a mailing myself with a flyer for the money that and I'm in there, and I try to put all the advertisers over their local news. So when you're in Summers, above you will be the Board of Ed, and the stories or pictures from the school play and things that people want to see.
Right. And I think part of the key for you as the publisher of a local newspaper is just that. Just like real estate, it's location, location, location.
Right.
For you, it's local, local, local.
Exactly.
If people want national, state news coverage, they can get it anywhere.
Exactly.
But if they want their local community news.
They do, and I've even absorbed. I've had people come to me from. Now I work with all the library. A lot of these towns, they would print their own library newsletter, firefighter newsletter.
Right.
And they come to me and said, "Here, they send me a press release and say, can you run this? We can't afford to print it." Right. I'm like, "Oh, sure, I love it." Right. And so now that's the only place you can get it is my paper. So I said, my goal is I defy anyone in one of my towns to read the paper and not know something will touch you. You can't go through your towns and going, "Wow, this this happened, this building, all this. I know this kid. That's my the senior center. Here's my grandfather. My father's in there."
Right, there's a nugget for everybody.
That's the goal. That's what I try. So.
Cool. Well, great. Thanks for being here.
Always a pleasure.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
All right. Take care.
Joining me now is another friend that we discovered here in the showcase. I've known her for years and her organization for decades. If you can introduce yourself to our viewers, please.
I'm Donna Enman, and I'm the director of the Rockville Public Library in Rockville, Vernon, Connecticut.
I'm fascinated by how libraries have had to morph and change through the years. This is not your grandparents' library.
No, it's not, but it's more exciting.
Yeah.
But libraries are probably the one institution that knows it has to change.
Right.
The institution that our grandparents used catered to the immigrants coming to this country. And the institution that we have today is still catering to many of the people as they come to this country and to our communities. But we know how to change as a library system. All throughout the country, you read about libraries making major changes.
That's right. Yep. And they're really catalysts for the community.
Yes.
In more diverse ways than ever.
Well, libraries are not just unto themselves. They are really an important part of a community. Our library is what they call an association library, which means we do get some tax funding. But basically, we are supported through an endowment. So we have the best and the worst of the worlds. But we are part of the community. When other groups need help with something, we're right out there helping.
Right.
So I kind of like it.
Right.
And we see people, I have made the comment many times, we don't look to see what your bank account is. We don't care what you look like. All we want to do is provide good service.
Right. And in today's wired culture, people might think, well, why do I need to go to the library to get information if I have a computer and an internet connection? I have the world at my fingertips. But in reality, how many people visit your library every year? Some kind of order of magnitude that people could grasp.
We had about 150,000 visitors last year.
Yeah.
And they come for so many different reasons. They need help in their technology, because for our older citizens, technology is a pain in the neck. And the younger ones are finding what they're looking for maybe online, but sometimes they don't know how to find it.
Right.
Or the information they find may not be truthful.
Right. You can't trust everything that's on a website. That's
No.
for sure.
No.
So you're almost like a quality control filter.
We are. And many times we're asked for information from books to see if it validates what people have found online.
Yep. Yep. And you recently went through a major expansion, didn't you?
Yes, we added 6,000 square feet to the back of our building. And it increased our office space. It increased space for an elevator, a conference room, stack space. And I know at least you didn't give me a funny look when I said stack space, because people think you don't need more stack space because we aren't going to have books.
Right.
Books will always be with us. Because while people read Kindles and Nooks, many things that they want to read are not on the Kindles and Nooks. Sometimes if you read a series of books, you may find that the last 5 books are on a Kindle or a Nook, but the first 5 are only available in paper.
Right.
So it's using both types of media.
Sure.
The electronic and the
Right.
printed.
And you're a lot more technology oriented than people might think. You have quite a bit of technology there that people can tap.
Yes, we do. We have computers that are available for people to use. We teach patrons or anyone who wants to know how to use the computer and use the different facets of computers. Because we run classes from internet basics or computer basics to right down to Facebook and, a lot of things that patrons want to know but maybe are uncomfortable asking.
Okay.
We help people with job searches,
Yeah.
resume writing,
Sure.
and even down to today, people who are applying for a job cannot go into most institutions now
Right.
and do a paper application.
Right.
Everything's online.
Right.
And if you've never used a computer,
It's intimidating.
yes.
Sure. Now I'm curious, here we are at the Business Showcase. Someone might be surprised to see a public library here having a display. Why are you involved in the Tolland County Chamber, and specifically why did you have a display here tonight?
We've been involved in the chamber for about 12 or so years. But we feel it's important because we consider the library to be a business. We are providing goods and services, and it's necessary for us to be out in the business world to see what's available in technology, in banking, and what resources there are out there. So when our patrons come into us, we don't...
You're not in a bubble.
No, we're not.
You want to keep your feet on the ground and know what's going on so you can provide your patrons with relevant contacts and information.
Yes.
Yeah.
And today it is so good because we meet the people that we've talked to on the phone. And I've picked up a great deal of information today that will be useful to us.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for the contribution that you make to our local economy and culture and our citizens.
Well, we look forward to seeing you soon at the library.
That's right. Thanks. Joining me now is a partner in a very established law firm in Vernon. And Bill Breslau is one of the senior partners. He's been on our show in years past. But if you could introduce yourself to our viewers.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks, Drew. My name is Stephen Sutton. I'm an estate planning and elder law attorney with Kahan, Kerensky, and Capicella in Vernon, Connecticut.
Great. Steve and I served together on the Tolland County Chamber Board, and I'm curious, if I remember correctly, you actually grew up on Long Island?
I did. I'm from Bayshore, New York originally.
Uh-huh. And what was your journey from your childhood in Long Island to where'd you go to school and how'd you end up in Connecticut?
Well, I started my journey in upstate New York, so I went to Binghamton University in upstate New York.
Yep.
Graduated from there with a degree in accounting, and went back to Manhattan for my first accounting job as a CPA, and then left that and went back upstate New York, worked 6 years in Syracuse in a couple of different accounting firms there.
Okay.
My journey back here was predominantly because of law school.
Okay.
So I came back here, went to Western New England College School of Law up in Springfield, Mass, and stayed here and became a Connecticut resident.
Now, I have to ask, here we are in north central Connecticut. I grew up in Connecticut, Long Island, New Jersey. My dad worked on Manhattan for years. So we've had a similar background. I mean, don't you just love the lifestyle up here compared to the rat race in the city? Or do you actually miss it?
I rarely miss it. The reason I left was because I knew I didn't want to live in New York any longer. There's other things that I enjoy doing in my free time, such as being outside and running and other sorts of activities. So it's not only that, it's congestion, it's the attitude of the people that are around you as well. So there's a lot there that central Connecticut has to offer that New York no longer did.
Sure. Yep. And how did you go from accounting to law? How was that transition?
Conscious choice. I always had law school in the back of my head.
Okay.
Went to school, got my accounting degree, knowing I could get a good paying job when I came out.
Right.
In a field that I could stick with if I decided it was for me.
Right.
But always had law school in the back of my head, and after being out about 6 years, I had been offered a position as a CFO, and life was changing at that point in time, so it was looking at other things such as buying a house and getting married, and I said, you know what, if I don't go, I'm never going to go. So I quit my job and went full-time to law school for 3 years, and I'm happy with what I've been doing. I've been practicing for 19 years now.
Excellent. How long have you been with the firm in Vernon?
19 years.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
What are the primary legal issues that you personally cover?
It's interesting. The practice has morphed over time. I used to do a lot of heavy-based estate planning work.
Okay.
But as the estate tax laws have changed over time, predominantly in the last 10 years, the number of clients that need that sort of sophistication and level of planning has dropped. So estate planning and taxation was a primary focus early on in my career. That shifted now more towards elder law work.
Oh, sure.
Because we have an aging population. People are thinking more about how do I pay for long-term care, what programs are available to me. And the reality of it is, with the federal estate tax exemptions up near $5.5 million, the number of clients that are out there that need that sort of sophisticated estate planning has dropped.
Okay. Wow. Well, thank you very much for being at the showcase here and for your service to the Tolland County Chamber.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
Appreciate you having me on, Drew.
You're welcome. Well, we've had a great evening here at Meneely's in South Windsor for the 2016 Tolland County Chamber of Commerce Business Showcase. Some of the exhibitors that we've interviewed include Express Verizon, Mansfield Downtown Partnership at Storrs Center, Rockville Public Library, Shea & Company Real Estate, the Adventure Park at Storrs, the Alternative Board, and a bunch of others. So we thank you very much for watching the show. We'll see you next week. And please don't forget to visit our website, TollandCountyEconomy.com. That's TollandCountyEconomy.com. Thanks for tuning in.